I sent the link. I'm going to put this on my website as well under educator resources because it's just being filled with all sorts of good stuff. If you missed my collaboration presentation at 1 today, I'm sorry, I forgot to record that, but I did put the slideshow on my website. So, SchoolTool and Google Classroom are now integrated. To do that, you have to have rosters in SchoolTool. So, what I have here is I kind of have a little how-to. Once you have your rosters, and you can do this one of two ways. You can create your classes in Google Classroom first, or you can go into your rosters first and do it this way. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have a blue G next to your roster. Now, throwing it out there, full disclosure, you will have a separate class for every roster you have. And I'll talk about how to kind of deal with that in a minute, okay? So on your roster, you'll see a blue G. You're going to click that blue G, and it's going to ask you to either select create new, or if you have a class or two already created, you can click those classes. I will tell you though, if you click a class you already have created, it's going to overwrite the students that are already in that class. It's going to take all those kids out of there, and it's going to put those other kids in there. All right, so we'll get rid of those kids, just so you know. From there, you hit the sync button, and you're going to receive a confirmation box. You're going to get this that hopefully says 4 students added, 0 students failed, or it might say something like these students added, so many students failed. This is one from SchoolTool. Let's see if I can make that a little bigger. There you go. So you can see that one has some students failed. I'll try and make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. Is that better? Can you guys see that better? Okay. So you can see here, this one, it worked, this one, it didn't. Now, let's go into some troubleshooting, because that's it. That's all you have to do. Then once you're in Google Classroom, you can edit the name of the class. You can edit the certain things about the class, and that's fine. The kids will still stay in there. The other thing it does, which is really nice, it doesn't just invite the kids, it force adds them. So there's no, like when the kids log on, they don't have to sit there and say, they don't have to hit the accept button. They're just already in the class, all right? So let's talk about some troubleshooting. If anyone has any questions, let's see. Those are some multiple sections of grade levels will need a different Google Classroom for each roster. That is correct, Michelle. Unfortunately, yes. So some of the special teachers, PE, I've been working with the high school PE people because they have so many different rosters and such. You will have to, if you want to do it this way, you do not, and I'll repeat, you do not have to do it this way. If you want to have a separate Google Classroom, maybe create, like have a grade book or something and then type them in separately with SchoolTool. So you have just like, I know, Michelle, we had talked about you having like grade 2 music, grade 1 music. If you want to do it that way, that's up to you. The nice thing about doing this is that you can just hit that sync button and the assignments will be directly added into SchoolTool from Classroom. But to do that, you have to have a Google Classroom for each roster. So let's talk about that though, because that's the first question. I have multiple rosters for one class in SchoolTool. Can I add multiple rosters into one Google Classroom? Fortunately, you cannot, but you can post to multiple classrooms at once. Look at the image at the right, you'll see. Click the pull-down menu and click the box of the classes you want to post to. It's a couple extra clicks, but it works great. Now, unfortunately, thank you, Laura Nels, for figuring this out. Why can't I schedule posts to multiple classrooms? Let's say you want to schedule a post to multiple classrooms, right? There's 2 things. Oh my gosh, I just remembered another one. I'm going to put it in here too. There's 2 things you can do. One, and Lauren came up with this, you can post something on one classroom, schedule it to post, but then from there, you can then hit reuse post in the other classrooms and schedule it. So you can schedule from a reuse post, and reuse post you can use not only from an active Google Classroom, but also from archived classrooms. And you know what else I didn't even think about? Check this out. And this is like, if you're, I guess if you're good. Lauren and Brooklyn, you're pretty good. You guys could probably do this. So let's say I'm in my Google Classroom and I want to create an assignment. Do it. I know you can. Okay, can't spell, but that's cool. Everybody knows how I roll. Okay, so let's say I want to post it for multiple classes, right? All my students, and I want to schedule it, but I don't want to post it yet. What you could do is save it as a draft. And then here it is right here. It's scheduled for multiple classes. It's a draft. I can drop it at a certain time. And again, it only requires one click, but you're going to have to remember to go in and do that, right? So that might be another option. Hold on. You guys are my, sorry, you guys are my guinea pigs here. So I'm going to click the Save Draft. Not what I wanted. That. Another option. It's not the option, but you know, it's something for that. All right. How are we doing over here? Anybody got any questions? If the roster changes, so okay, that's a great question, Brooklyn. I didn't put that on here. I should add that. If the roster changes, does it automatically change it in Google? So unfortunately, no, you do have to sync it. So you'll click the sync button and that'll tell you. It will automatically update in SchoolTool, but it won't update on Google Classroom. The Google Classroom is a manual key. So let me. Right here. If you have any other questions, put them in chat so I can, you know, oops. Whatever. What am I doing? I'm just copy and paste, right? What the heck? Come on. Come on, Nancy. Work smarter, not harder. All right. All right, so I will add that answer in, even though I just answered it. If I have multiple Google Classrooms, how do I share the same Meet link across classrooms? That's a great question that I've had. So you can use a Google Meet link from Google Classroom, and each Google Classroom would generate its own, right? Now, if you want to have all your kids from that same class in the same Google Meet, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to enable the Google Meet link on your class A that you want to use that link for. You can just put it up at the top, right? Now, the other kids, or you can do it with A too, they're going to need a copy of that, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to create an announcement in your stream. You're going to create an announcement in your stream and say, here's the link for meeting, right? Now, the link never changes, so you only have to do this once. Then you're going to click it to all the classes you want to share it with. Here's our link. I can copy it right here. You can see it's not visible by my students, so they know, right? Copy, paste. There you go. So now when I post that, it's going to post across all 6 classes. And let's say I want to have it at the top all the time. If I post another announcement on the stream, my link will move down. All you need to do is click on these 3 dots and you can then move it to the top. You would have to do that for every single class. That's the only thing that kind of stinks. Even if it's down way down on the bottom, if you decide, you know, it's okay if it goes down a little bit, but I'm going to move it back to the top again. So you can totally do that too. But again, the link never changes. It's not like every day you log in, it's a new Google Meet link. So you should only have to do that once. Let's see. Is there a set formula for what each of our classes are named in Google Classroom? Oh, Grace, that's a great question. I'm not sure. I know that the high school last year and the junior high had a set formula about what it's supposed to be. I will write that question down. Google, and I will email the powers that be. classroom names, question mark. All right, does anybody know the answer to that? Has anybody heard anything from high school or junior high? I don't know if intermediate did that last year, but I feel like 6 through 12 did, so. All right, so there you go. See, move to top. Oh, look, I have an image right there. My Google Classroom isn't syncing correctly. Is there something I can do to fix it? I've had some people ask questions. I actually just got off the phone with some 6th grade teachers. What they did was it was 2 math teachers and then their co-teacher. And the math teachers created their Google Classrooms through SchoolTool. They synced them. And then the co-teacher tried to do it as well. When she did that, it erased all the kids' names, kind of messed everything up. So what we learned is you need to have one teacher create the classroom, even if there's co-teachers. And then that one teacher, let's say I created the classroom. Let's see who's right there. Oh, Kara's my first picture there. So Kara, I'm picking on you. So let's say Kara's my co-teacher. I'm then going to add Kara to my Google Classroom as a co-teacher. And from there, because her roster and my roster are the same, I should still be able to click the blue G when I go to import grades, and so should she, and they'll both be linked to the same gradebook in SchoolTool. So let's say you accidentally do that where Kara adds one and I add one and it gets all messed up. What you need to do is, it's right here is the picture. You're going to click the blue G, you're going to unlink, and then and delete the Google Classroom that you created, get rid of that, and just do it again. Hit sync again. All right, so once you unlink it and then sync it, it should work. And that's worked for it before. All right, Alice, thank you, Allison. Kara, I haven't heard anything about that. I would wait. That's another good question. I know that we have a program called Little Sis where I'm like an administrator and it allows me to kind of pop in and out of people's Google Classrooms. So I don't know if the admin have that. I don't know how that works. I just use it as like a help tool and PD and stuff. So add admin, because I know last year Ted was in every single one, which was crazy. All right. So if you guys have any more questions, like I like this one. See, this is ABZ 14. I'm going to add this here. If you have any more questions, please email me, and I'll keep this as like a living document. So as questions come up and as solutions come up, we will continue to pop them in there, okay? All right. So let's talk about syncing grades. Now, I won't lie, I've only done this once. You could look, full disclosure, right? I actually had Gina Kinsella come down here from PE. We synced a class from the spring. We made an assignment in Google Classroom. We gave the kids a bunch of grades. They were a bunch of my former students, so I really wanted to fail them all just to mess with them. But we were nice, and we gave them different grades, 100s and 90s and whatever. And then we synced it to her grade book. And it did. It all went in. And then we tried to sync it again, and we played with a little. That's where things got a little fuzzy. So I think this part's going to be a work in progress. I did put a bunch of questions out to Phil, who is our contact with Sinrec and SchoolTool, who is on vacation this week. Don't get me started about that. But it's fine. So what I did was I took a lot of the information that he gave me that was like from SchoolTool, and I kind of posted it in here. Okay, so this isn't necessarily from me. This is from SchoolTool. I went through it. I used the same images they gave us, and these are the things that Gina and I saw when we did it. So to import grades and such, what you're going to do is you're going to have your grade book in SchoolTool, and when you open it, you're going to click on the G, all right? It's going to allow you to decide. You can see here, name and description, the date, marking period. You can choose the category. Again, it's going to be dependent on what your grade book looks like in SchoolTool. You're going to be able to click that G, and then it's going to tell you what grades that came in, all right? So to add assignments and pending grades to the gradebook editor, use checkboxes to select the assignments you want to import. So let's say you don't want to like update something that is past. You have to check mark them here. You can see there's a check mark here, okay? Then you're going to click the save icon, and it'll import. Now, if the gradebook already contains a matching assignment, or if students already have scores for their assignment, you will receive an error indicating that duplicate data exists. You may discard the pending changes, or if you wish to import, you may use the allow overwrite. That was the kicker that Gina and I found, is that if they already have grades in SchoolTool and you go to sync it again, it won't change the grades. Like, it won't let you overwrite them. So you may want to wait until you have everything in, except for those few kids you're missing or whatnot, and then sync it then. All right, does that make sense? That was the only like kind of kink we found so far. And looking here, it says that you have to allow the overwrite, but it didn't overwrite. Like, we changed their grades and tried to overwrite it, and it didn't change. You would have to physically go in and change them. If you decide, you know what, I'm going to just sync it on Fridays because that'll make it easier for me. By then, everyone will get in. Or maybe I'm going to sync it Monday morning. If you choose the batch adjust category button, that's going to let you choose all the assignments in all the same category. So you could click through all the ones that you want to go into homework, right? And that's going to change all the categories to homework. See right here, select category. You're going to hit update. And right here, see, it's going to update them all into that category. I'm pretty sure you have to click the ones that you want to update. If they're not clicked, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So again, is this it? This is what I have for you guys. This is all I have from SchoolTool at this point. When rosters are in, when you start playing with it some more, feel free to try it out. Try and add a batch of grades, go in, because like I said, we did it with Gina earlier. And after we added the grades, after we added the column, we added a grade book for her. We went in, we were able to delete it all. Now, that's probably not saying the kids might have gotten an email or something like, hey, this was returned in Google Classroom, whatever. You can just tell them it was a mistake. Like, I named the activity, like, we're just practicing, ignore this, whatever. If the kids have their Google Classroom notifications turned on, they may have gotten an email. If they haven't, they probably didn't. And who knows if kids are even checking their email at this point. So there's that. How are we doing? We have plenty of time. I still have 25 minutes. Does anyone else have any questions with SchoolTool and Google Classroom?
Lancy, do you, with this thing, are you supposed to make them in Google Classroom and they'll automatically go to SchoolTool, but then you can change the information in the SchoolTool, or vice versa, or?
It only works, you can make a Google Classroom and then sync it from SchoolTool, but when you sync it over, it's going to change it to whatever the SchoolTool is. So I would suggest making it from SchoolTool. If you already have them made and you've already started posting things in them or whatever, you can link it with SchoolTool to the current one and then just change the info afterwards. I'm pretty sure that works.
I just meant the assignments, not setting up the classroom.
I think that the assignments, you do the assignments in Google. The whole idea is that you'd be putting the grades in Google Classroom and then syncing it over to SchoolTool. But your SchoolTool would still have to be set up with the right, like, however you're going to weigh it in Google Classroom. You know what I mean? Like, when we set up the grade book, I don't know if it'll let, see, I can't even show people this stuff because I don't have like, I go in and I have my old roster. Let's see. I have like the last year I taught, which was 18-19. So if I go into math, when you do your editor, when you set it up,
yeah,
however you do that, I think it just has to be weighted the same in Google Classroom. You know what I mean? Because in Google Classroom gives you the option how many points you want out of. You would just do it out of the same amount of points that you would in SchoolTool. But then when it goes into SchoolTool, that's when it's doing the weighting and stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Think so.
Okay, sorry. Great takeaway. Enter grades in Google Classroom. Then when assignments is done, sync them to SchoolTool. Yeah.
That is, I got that corrected. Okay, because I think that's what Kara was saying, but.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, because then when you grade it in Google Classroom, the kids will be able to access it. I think the parents then see it in SchoolTool. So really, if the kids are in Classroom and they, let's see, this is what I'm enrolled in right here. The kids can click on their to-do, and if they haven't handed stuff in, right, like you can see all the stuff I'm missing because I haven't done it, the parents could have them do it that way. And if your parent guardian summaries are turned on and the parents are receiving them, they'll get an email daily or weekly saying, hey, they're missing this stuff. So now it kind of adds an extra level of what the kids are missing. Like SchoolTool's always been after the fact, which has always been kind of frustrating to me because parents will be like, oh, they're missing that assignment. I'm like, ah, that's from like 2 weeks ago, but okay.
Yeah,
With Google Classroom, you can see what's upcoming.
sure. All right.
Good? Did everybody get a copy of this? The link you're, okay. I'm here if you guys need help. Let me know. As things continue, I'll probably have another one of these. If not like this in person or whatever, or maybe even just make like some sort of screencastify and then post it for people on my YouTube channel. Because I think that as we continue on and as we start having assignments, we're going to figure out more kinks. And I do want to thank the people like Jake. Thank you. Jake has been emailing me with ideas, things that have been kind of iffy for them. But if you come across anything, let me know because I guarantee you're not the only one. There are other people that are having these issues, okay? So I'm going to stop presenting and I'm going to move you guys over here so I can actually look at you without like staring at my thing. All right. Anyone else have any questions about the Google SchoolTool connection? Sorry, I've been talking a lot today. You'd think I'd be good at that by now. I see you smiling, Wakula. I know. Anybody? All right. Well, hey, here, let me take my attendance real quick here with attempt to take attendance. My stupid thing. If anybody wants that meet attendance extension again, if you really want it, I can send it to you. But like I said, it's picky. You're very welcome, Kara. It's lovely to see you. All right, if you guys need anything, let me know. You know where I live, in the basement. Have a great day. Enjoy your long weekend. Bye. Go in the mountains. Get away from the screens. You're welcome.